This is Bottom of the Bill.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bottom of the Bill. Before we get to today's guest, we do our little weekly check-in. So how have you been doing, Chris?
Doing good. This one probably won't be little. It's been like 3 weeks since we've done anything podcast related.
I know, it's been a bit of a... I would use the word vacation, but I don't feel like that's accurate. It's been a vacation from the podcast.
Yeah. That's you spent time in LA.
Yeah.
That was vacation-esque. You weren't gigging, you were working, but you weren't working.
I know, it's weird. It doesn't feel like a vacation. I did some things that were vacation-like, but I was like hitting jams and like, you know, meeting up with people and like talking mostly music-related things, and it was a lot of fun though, man. The jams out there, like a different kind of situation.
Yeah, there was the one I saw you were at. Didn't catch the name of it.
Is it Tiny Jams?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. There's like there's a fun little anecdote I'll get to in a minute, but like, so it's a studio called Tiny Room Studios, and basically when you walk in, it's like a little waiting area, and then they have you open up a door, a hallway, it goes down to like they have a studio. And they have like the upstairs, which is like they have a big TV speakers where like they can watch content, review content and stuff like that. And then on, you know, the other side of all that, there's just this open like warehouse space, and they turned it into like they built a really nice stage, you know, great lighting. I mean, full PA system. It could. I mean, they built it like a venue, you know.
Yeah.
And then they host these jams there on Mondays and Tuesdays, and it's cool, but it's also it's different. So like, you have like a house band that's like kind of different every jam, but like also it's kind of the same people.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like a lot of the same like musicians that just kind of rotate in and out of the thing.
Right.
And like it's all improvised for the most part. You know, sometimes people will go into songs, but like it starts off like an improvised concept, and then, you know, the musicians just kind of decide in the middle of a jam like when, you know, you're getting off stage and when somebody. So it's like, for instance, we'll be vamping on something for a while, and then a guitar player will just walk up and be like, "Hey man, I'm getting up now." And the guitar player just hops off, and the other guy plugs in while the jam is still happening. And the same thing, the drummer will walk up and, "Hey man, I'm going to play now." And the drummer just gets off, and then the music just keeps going the whole time.
Yeah.
It's cool if you're already integrated with the scene. It's cool because like these are your friends and it's just whatever. I don't know anybody, right? So like for me to just walk up and tell somebody, "Hey man, I'm gonna play now," it was a little intimidating. So I got to play one night, and the rest of the time I was just kind of like watching just the dynamic of it, because I went there 3 times.
Nice.
And it was the musicians are just so good, and also like you're playing with people. Like I met a dude who plays in The Weeknd's band, and then somebody else who plays in J-Lo's band, and then like I was talking to this one dude, and we were just, you know, kind of shooting the shit or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, who do you play? Like, do you play in any bands or anything around town?" He was like, "Yeah, I played in a couple bands, you know." One, he starts like naming off a couple, and then he goes, "You know, Free Nationals," and I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, with AP," and I was like, Yeah.
I got it.
I got it, dude. And then like I met like 5 people there that also, like, it's a big collective of musicians, so like, everyone's getting cycled in and out for like whatever's, you know, needed for the thing. So
yeah,
it's like a whole thing, dude. So I don't know, it's just a different world out there. So
fuck yeah,
it was fun. I met up with Jose there.
Yeah, so you saw some of the Jack's homies.
Yeah,
Jake.
Just met up with Jake when I was there, but I saw Jose at the Tiny Jam thing.
Oh, nice.
That's where we linked up the first time I saw him, And then Jake, him and I just like linked up, went on a hike and just talked for a while. He's got a lot of cool stuff going on too, man.
I've been keeping up with him, man. He's killing it.
Yeah,
a lot of cool projects, a lot of cool bands.
Yeah,
some good shows.
Yeah, and he's like kind of he's doing a musical director thing for this one project, and he was showing me some stuff they were working on. It's, I mean, really good, man. He's come. I don't like saying he's come a long way because he's always been like great, but just to see where he's at in his career now, is like really cool. You know,
definitely, well deserved.
Yeah, man. So I got back, I guess a week ago today, and I've been just not. I haven't like stopped since I've been back. It's just been gigging and working on this documentary, acoustic thing, and then now I'm sick because of it. So it's great.
You getting any closer to getting that thing, making some progress on it?
Yeah, Jay is doing the music side of it, so he should be getting some drafts to me soon, and then I've been doing the doc part of it, so I've got like 3 of the interviews cut up already.
Nice.
3 of the songs on the interview side cut up already. I gotta finish the other 4, and then I gotta start sifting through the B-reel stuff and start figuring out where I'm gonna put it, and then start to put the songs in there as they come in.
Yeah.
So it's still got some ways to go, but slowly trekking along.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you?
Yeah, had and am in a busy run of work. We had my first Bakings gig last night.
Oh, nice.
And then I got another one tomorrow, and then today I'm headed to Orlando to play with Madison and the crew. And before that, I had gigs every day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We started a new jam at 9 Ball, Heaven, over on University here in Jax. And that was a lot of fun. A lot of good players. Got to see my buddy Mitch, who plays for Flip Turn.
Oh, nice.
He came out and played with us and was kicking ass, which was a lot of fun.
How's it? You having good turnouts for that one?
Yeah, so we just ran the first one. We booked it as a one-off, and thought that we might do something with it. But we booked that one-off, and by the end of the night, they booked us for every Monday, right away.
Hell yeah.
And it's cool. They got like a nice stage in there. We bring our own sound and stuff, but good turnout, good players that turned out. And we've got a full house band in there, the Snake Pile group, and we're trying to turn that into more of a players jam, and try to do, like 1904 and the Funk Jam was kind of like that place for the players to go hang, and like you knew there'd be like a certain level of quality and not everyone would know everything, but like you could go and like I can make some cool music happen and stuff. And there's a lot of open mic style jams, but there's not really a dedicated players jam, I feel like.
Right.
So we're kind of trying to gear this towards that and maybe be a little more exclusive on some of the people that jump up and play and stuff. And it's cool for us. Like we're pretty much going to do an hour set every time to start it, and then get our friends up either to play with us or, if there's enough people to make a group, have that go up and stuff, and then we'll probably close out the night with a couple tunes too.
Cool.
So it's good for us to like kind of learn tunes and get our chops up and stuff, and then also have a place for musicians to come out and hang. And a lot of people live right in that area. I didn't even know. Like Matt came out, he was like, I live right behind this place. Mitch is like, yeah, I live 10 minutes away from here. The J Raj, nasty bass player, came out and sat in as well. Edwin is doing a lot of piano bar stuff, so he came out, and I hadn't seen him in years.
Hell yeah.
And he was sounding great. So cool spot. I mean, it's massive. It's
Really?
I did not know what I was walking into. It is like taking up 4 shop fronts in this mini mart.
Damn.
In this shopping mart thing. Like it's massive, huge. Like they got a whole side. Like if you cleared out all the tables in that stage room area, it could be like a 300 or 400 cap venue.
Really?
By itself. And then there's another room that's kind of connected to it right next door that is the same size. I mean, it's
crazy,
massive.
So what is the place? It's a pool hall.
It's a pool hall, yeah. 9 Ball Heaven,
Yeah.
off of University, and Yeah, I will learn more about it as we go. But
So who's in like who makes up the house band?
so it's me, KP, Hamby, and
Jeremy.
Jeremy King. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeremy found it for us, and he was. I think he had kind of something in the works, but he asked us if we wanted something on Mondays, so we were like, "Yeah, we'll take it." And it, competitive pay, good pay for a 4-piece on a Monday, which is really cool. I teach, like the jam starts at 7. I teach till 6:30, so I fly across town and get there by downbeat, and that'll be fun. That'll be an adventure that I'll have forever now.
So what time? It starts at 7?
Yeah, 7 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and we just play a bunch of the tunes we've learned. Like we've picked up a lot of stuff for for just doing these snake pile gigs. We figured we might as well play some stuff we want to play. So we've got we're doing YAM and some other Spirits in the Material World, some Police,
Oh, yeah.
some Rush. It's a lot of stuff that we're just like we've always wanted to play this music and we haven't got a chance to. So
Yeah.
you'll see some stuff that you probably won't see around town a lot if you come out and check it out.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. That's the jam. Everything. It's a work blur. Even since the last time I saw you and we caught up at just working. I'm trying to think anything crazy. Just pretty much standard gig stuff and prepping some videos from the shoot. We got some more clips out from the Time-Wise shoot from forever ago.
Hell yeah.
I think we dropped that video. I don't know if I've said it on here, so we #dropped the video. It's out in the world.
Nice.
Yeah, just trucking along with all this cool stuff. So
That's what's up, man.
yeah, it's been good.
Oh yeah, I had a fun anecdote that I wanted to share about that jam.
What you got?
So it's in a rough part of town, to say the least. Neighbor.
There's no two Publix with inside of each other.
That's check out our TikTok for that one. So it's in Englewood.
Oh, nice.
And it was funny. It was like I parked the first night that I went there. I parked around the corner, and Jose met me there or whatever. And he was like, I was like, yeah. He's like, you gonna play tonight? I was like, yeah, I got my stuff in the car. I'll probably get it. He's like, oh, get your stuff out of the car, dude. Don't leave that shit. And he's like, for real though, go get it. You can't do that. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's funny, my sister said the same thing, but you hear you hear shit and you're just like, yeah, people exaggerate, but apparently you don't leave your shit in your car in LA. It just doesn't happen. So anyways, the second night that I went, I parking in I would imagine in most of the cities out in California, but it's you have to know when and what time to park there. They have the signs there. It says you can park here from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then after that, it's tow away, but except for Sundays where it's 11 a.m. to 9 a.m. or to 12 p.m. or some shit. It's always little things. So, anyways, I'm looking for parking. It's late at night in this neighborhood that's very quiet and real hood. Mm-hmm. So, I find what I thought was a parking spot. Okay.
Uh-oh.
And I park there. And I walk up the block to the jam, and I come back 2 hours later, and I look at where I'm parked, and I'm like, oh shit, this is not a parking spot. In fact, I parked in front of somebody's garage, because it was street parking where the sidewalk dips for a driveway into somebody's garage, right? And it's nighttime, I couldn't see, I didn't have my glasses, whatever. So, all right, well, I'm just going to throw this in here and walk away real quick. And as soon as I walk up to the car, somebody opens up the front door. It was like, hey, man, you can't fucking park here like that. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize. I didn't see. My bad. He was like, do you get shot for shit like that around here? And I was like, all right, man, really, I apologize. My bad. It won't happen again. He was like, it stared me down for a minute. And I was like, I felt like something was about to happen. So I was like, all right, dude, my bad again. I'm sorry. I just opened the car door and I got in and left. And I thought for sure something was about to go down. And I was driving my sister's car. So like, I'm just happy you didn't come out and just smash the shit up. You know what I mean?
So keep your head on a swivel, Rainey.
Yeah, she doesn't know about that. I didn't.
She does now.
I did not tell her because she was already. When I told her the part of town it was in, she was already like, "Dude, all right,
you can Uber." Kind of.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was fun. So yeah, lesson learned: don't look out for where you're parking in Inglewood.
Don't park in LA.
And then like the first night that I was there, me, Jose, and like two other people were out front talking for a while, and we just heard like what sounded like a shotgun blast. And I'm not talking like in the distance. This was like the block over or something. We like jumped, and then one of the people was like standing out there, and she was just like, "Oh, that's Inglewood. This is where I live." And I was like, all right, dude. Well, that's fucking wild. Just like not even phased. The rest of us like jumped. Like, what the fuck is going on? You know,
classic.
It's crazy, dude. Anyways, this week on the show we have a real good friend of mine, a special guest, Keith Harry, who I've been playing with. We've been working together for years now. We met when he was playing with a band called Andrew Scotchie and the River Rats, based out of Asheville, and we did a show together. I don't know, probably like 7 years ago, something like that. And I mean, really hit it off with the whole crew. But Keith and I really struck up a good friendship as well, and just kept in contact over the years. And since then, we have worked on collaborations together. I did some stuff during COVID that Chris helped out with too, and that Keith played bass on. And I played on some of his songs on his latest record, and done numerous tours together, and just always really enjoy. Super talented guy, really personal. I mean, just an awesome guy. Lets us crash at his place whenever we've toured through Asheville. I mean, just awesome. We've done really crazy amount of stuff together over the years. Now I'm thinking about it. So it was awesome to have him on the show and catch up for a while. So we hope you enjoy the episode. Let us know what you think. We got merchandise linked in the description. We've got what else? Social media stuff. Sorry guys, I'm a little out of it today. I'm not feeling so hot. So yeah, but merchandise, social media. Give a like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, enjoy the episode. And we'll see you guys later. Peace.
This is Bottom of the Bill.
And we are live. Keith Harry, how are you doing, my boy?
Oh, not too shabby, my friend. How about you?
I'm good, man. We've been trying to make this call happen for quite some time, so I'm excited we finally got it worked out and we got past all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, and all the natural disasters and.
Yes, the natural disaster. I mean, it's always weird with the hurricanes here because it always makes such a big deal out of it. And Jacksonville, like North Florida, seems to be in this sweet spot, and we lost you again.
Oh no, I can see y'all.
Oh, you can see us?
Well, the recording's still going.
The recording's still going?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna.
You just picture his pretty face and.
Okay.
And keep it rolling,
So yeah, North Florida is always in this little sweet spot where we don't really get hit very often, so it's nice. What's been going on with you, man?
Did a lot, tons. It's been a crazy couple weeks since the last time we tried to do this. I guess the biggest news is I got engaged.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Oh, congratulations!
It was a secret plan.
Man.
I've been in the works for a few months. Thanks, man. I'm super pumped.
You've been sitting on the news for a few months, you said?
Yeah, I've been concocting the plan and getting all the ducks in a row to make it happen, and did it on Tuesday.
That's super dope, man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Where do you guys have a date yet, or do you know where you're going to get married at?
We're definitely going to get married in Asheville, but date TBD. We want a fall wedding, so we're planning out logistics. We're already thinking about it, but there's so much to go into it. So, phase 1. We're just in phase 1 right now. Nothing definite.
Yeah, I feel that, man. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's so dope.
Thanks.
And how's that working with your touring schedule? You guys must be, it's got to be important to be on the same page and communicating and all that stuff. You guys pretty good about all that?
Yeah. Communication is key in that regard, and trust. And she's been nothing but supportive and amazing. And hence why I popped the question. But it's the thing that always gets me is how myself I feel, and how she's given me nothing but space to just be myself. Never did anything to try and change me, never gets upset. She just knows that I'm a touring musician, and she respects and appreciates that. And, we make it work. It's not always easy, that's for damn sure, but the communication is what drives the comfort and allows things to move smoothly. So it's been a great growing experience to be with somebody so open and supportive, and still allow me to be me, and just grow as a person and grow as a couple. And I'm super excited about the future.
That's dope, man. Yeah, I'm really happy for you. That's super cool. And tell me about what else you've had going on. You said that you were playing some festivals and you had some cool stuff in the works last time we spoke.
Yeah, I did Americana Fest last week in Nashville for 6 days. Got to sit on some I wasn't on a panel, but I sat in on conferences and listened to people, just kind of impart wisdom, and got to see some killer music and just hang out with the boys, and just, it was a great time. Nashville's always a good place to go. It's always inspiring, the hustle and bustle of the music industry there. And, it's a lot different than Asheville. Asheville's a nice, sleepy, creative mountain town. You go to a place like Nashville and it's hustle, bustle, business. And it's kind of like going to New York City for me. I always get inspired going to New York City because you see everybody bustling around and busting hump to get by. It's, it gives you an energy to go back home with. And I always get that going to a place like Nashville too.
Where were you guys staying at?
So Kevin, I play with Kevin Daniel and the Bottom Line, and Kevin is based out of Nashville. So he had a house there. We just stayed at his house and hung out.
And were you guys like recording and stuff, or did you have like gigs in the books? Like, what was the excursion?
Yeah, it was.
For?
We had Kevin got his first official Americana Fest showcase. So we played a show at Eastside Bowl, and then just attended the conferences and the shows. And I also took a bunch of meetings with agents that I work with and managers that I've dealt with. So it was kind of like double dipping. Did a little booking work, did a little music, did a little spectating. So it was all encompassing trip.
Yeah, man, that's what's like, to your point about Nashville and New York and LA and places like that, where there's just so much going on all the time, especially in regards to entertainment and music, where like you can really experience, like, it's one thing to go to like a place like Asheville's got a great scene. We talk about it all the time on the show, where there's these cities with great scenes, but then there's this next level where like there's so much industry in certain places, like beyond just the music scene. So it's cool to go to a place like Nashville or New York or LA and kind of see like all the subsequent kind of, I guess, infrastructure that exists to serve the industry. So like you can really find like, there's management companies, there's booking agencies, publishing houses. There's like all these different aspects you can really dive into. And I'm curious as to, obviously, like the music is a given. People like Nashville's known for just having killer musicians playing all the time, touring, putting out great music. But I'm curious as to what your perspective and experience was like on the booking end of it there. Like, what kind of meetings were you taking, and if you're even allowed to like disclose any of that?
Yeah, I mean, the meetings were just like getting to know the agents that I deal with more on, I email and I call people all the time, but it's rare that we get to actually interface and be in the same room. So, it's just an important part of the process where it's all about relationships. That whole part of the industry is just relationships, forging connections with people. And, one of the best ways to do it is face to face, being able to be in the same room, talk, chew the fat. It's not always business either. It's, just like, hey, what do you do in your world outside of this? And just getting to know each other on a different level, and stuff you can't really do over email or phone. I mean, phone conversations are great too. Easier, that I would say emails is like one way to get it done. The phone call is the next level to get it done in a faster manner, but there's nothing like being in a room. And that's kind of like the top tier way of getting an interface with people. And I just think it's really important to do that. So every time I'm in a place like Nashville with people I work with on that level, I like to get to know them, be in the room kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it goes such a long way, because then there's this personal aspect that you're getting that you're not really getting when you're shooting like emails and text messages and stuff. You lose so much of like the interpersonal relationship, I guess. And when you're in the room with people, you can really, I don't know, there's something that happens where it feels like, I don't want to use the word like they feel like they have to kind of keep you in mind, but there's something to that in-person relationship that I feel like really keeps you fresh in people's heads, and you do end up getting calls, and you do end up with better opportunities because of it,
Well, yeah, I heard somebody speak on a panel once, and it was the agent for like Bad Bunny. It was like a monster agent, somebody doing huge stuff. And his thing was like, in the end, this is a human experience. We're humans. We need to make it a human experience. And when it's all digital emails and there's barely phone calls or, the in-person interaction, you kind of lose the fact that like it's humans dealing with each other. So to put that humanity to it when you're in person is super critical, because you can't let the business side of it forget that this is two humans trying to make something happen, and we're really on the same team. We're not at odds. We need what's best for everybody, because if the venue fails, then the artist doesn't have a place to go. And if the artist, it all revolves together. So I really took that to heart when I heard that guy talk, because he's making monster deals and he's still putting that human touch and making sure that he's acknowledging and respecting that we're just humans in the end, and we need to have that connection more than anything. And that's how it really gets done.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I'm curious, like something that I've always been interested in is like this perceived contention between artists and whatever the quote unquote suits that are like, the label side or the representation side, where the story as old as time is like you're in a bad deal or people get taken advantage of and this and that. I'm curious if you heard anything in those discussions where they talk about those points of contention and why that, I guess, perspective is so common, because it is the case that we are all on the same team, at least ideally, and we should all be working together to like make the best outcome possible. But when does somebody feel it's advantageous to like be greedy or to, I guess, take more or just take advantage of people that they have more, I guess, say or more of a voice than?
It's an interesting question. I don't know. I think some of that just comes from maybe lack of understanding. So many there's artists out there that maybe aren't they're artists, they're pure artists. They want to make art and that's their focus, and maybe they don't understand the other side. So some of that contention might come from that, where they're just like, business illiterate a little bit and don't quite understand it, and maybe that fuels some of that. I mean, there's definitely snakes out there, 100%. But that applies to everything, really. You always got to have the watchful eye out for the snakes. But I don't know. I don't know where that is stemmed from, but it could be so many things, really.
Yeah,
and in the end, though, like, it is realistic that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, in the end, artists do end up getting paid the least sometimes, and that, and for the people creating the art and the quote unquote product or whatever, they tend to be valued the least, and I think that's overall. It's people live their life with art, but don't seem to value it accordingly, in my opinion, sometimes. So yeah, I could see the contention coming from that too, because, if you got a manager, that's 10, 15%. You got a booking agent, that's 10, 15%. You got a tour manager, and all these things start to dwindle down, and then the artist gets paid, so I could see some contention coming from that too. But, you got to spend money to make money sometimes, and you need a team, and people shouldn't work for free, but it all needs to be balanced. Again, back to communication, the human touch, that can really help ward off those contentions and miscommunications and all that stuff. So it's a crazy world out there, hard to navigate, a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I feel like communication is like the thing there with all of it, because I can definitely understand why an agent or a manager might be thinking, well, we're doing X, Y, and Z, and if you didn't have this representation, you wouldn't be getting this, this, and this. And then, like, there can be, and if we're not all in agreement, like, sometimes there's like these gray areas, like, okay, well, where's the money coming from, and where are we taking the money from? If we're taking a percentage of the business, are we taking a percentage of one aspect of the business? Like, and then sometimes when things aren't like clearly laid out, which is why contracts are so important. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Like, if there's not a clear and direct line where everything should be going to and who gets what, then that's where I think the miscommunication comes into play, and then people start to feel like they're getting screwed,
I heard a great line at one of the conferences this past week, that contracts aren't for people you don't trust. Contracts are made between friends, so all the things are lined out, black and white, and you can stay friends. And I was like, that's a great point. If it's super pro and super clear cut and direct to have a contract, and who better to want to keep a good relationship with than your friends? So that was like so poignant and just punched right home. I mean, yes, contracts are for the snakes too, but you want to stay friends with somebody, let's talk it out directly up front. I like that.
100%. And furthermore, like, be extra wary of the people that are like, we don't need a contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Those people that are just like, we can do this on the handshake, or we can, we sit here in person. We've had a discussion about what the expectations are, and we can just leave it right here. Anybody who is trying to dismiss the value of a contract, I think you have to be super cautious with people like that.
Yeah.
And it's not even like coming from a lot of the times it's not even coming from a bad place. I mean, sometimes it is, because they know, like, if you're dealing with financiers, money people, whatever, like they know the value of a contract because they've made their money somehow and they didn't do it without contracts. So if they're telling you not to worry about a contract, that's fishy. But then there's the other side of it where there's a lot of people out there that don't have any experience at all. And they just they believe kind of what the perspective is that you were saying before, where it's not for friends, it's for the snakes. But so like they avoid the contracts altogether. But that's so like, you know, and that leads to destroying friendships. So to have it all lined out, clear, and where everything's going is the most important thing by far. And anybody who tells you we don't need a contract is either misinformed, ignorant, or they're just straight lying to you.
Yeah, agreed. Direct communication, best way to get through many aspects in life, not just business and music.
Oh, 100%, bro.
All right, guys, this episode's brought to you by Best Buds CBD Store. If you're like me, maybe THC isn't always the right high for you, or maybe the legal status of THC has you a bit hesitant to indulge. So at Best Buds CBD Store, they have an array of CBD and Delta-8 THC products. These guys truly care about their service, so everything is meticulously sourced and prepared to deliver a top-notch product and experience. If you head to their website, you'll find all kinds of educational information regarding Delta THC and CBD. Not to mention, if you use promo code BotBPod, that's BOTB pod, you'll save 10% on your order. This is not a one-time deal. If you use promo code BotBPod, every time you place an order with Best Buds, it will give you 10% off. That's in perpetuity, forever. So head over to bestbudscbdstore.com and start saving on all of your CBD and Delta-8 products. Enjoy, guys.
So are you, so when you were there, were you representing on behalf of Kevin, or were you doing like was it just like a freelance thing?
A little bit of both. I was there, you know, making connections with Kevin and talking to people to help him out, but also for Silverados, the venue I book for. Most of the agents I deal with for that venue are all based in Asheville, so a lot of that was there. And there's some crossover because, you know, you get to talking about, oh, what are you up to, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, well, I play with this guy, and then it all kind of loops in. Being on both sides of the coin, kind of being in the business aspect and the artist aspect, it's nice to have a little overlap. Kind of why I learned it, because I saw the value in knowing some of that stuff and being able to utilize those skills to help the art.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, like as an artist, it's important to understand the business side and also just be able to have like that other, just to diversify your skill set and your revenue streams as well. I'm curious because I run into this like doing the podcast.
And the Rolodex of people to know.
I'm sorry?
I mean, if you know a bunch, I said, and to just expand your Rolodex, because, you know, you need agents, you need managers, you need other artists, you need photographers, you need the whole gamut of professions to make it happen. So it's never bad to branch out.
No, 100%. And something that I always get concerned about, like doing this podcast and like having represented, you know, a side hustle when I was doing that, it's like this kind of perceived the shift in perception of you, where it's like you want, like you're doing all the extra stuff because you want to make you want to enhance your ability to be an artist. But do you ever feel like sometimes you become known for the other thing and then you're like, well, wait a minute, I'm actually, like, at heart I'm an artist and I'm only doing this to like prop that up. So when you start to become known for the other stuff and less for the artistry, like, did you ever come across those feelings, and like, how do you, like, I guess manage that?
Oh, all the time. I think about that constantly. More inwardly, like, you know, whatever anybody else thinks, that's for them to think, not for me to think about. But in myself, I think about that all the time. Like, I have a day where I'm just like bogged down in business all day. I'm like, I need to write. I need to play bass. I need to do something. And, you know, to go from business brain to creative brain all in the same day is kind of tough. So I'm really trying to balance that those sides of things, because I don't want to just be business. I love the art side. That's why I got into it. I started off as an artist to be an artist, realized I had to do these other things to help the art. And then, sometimes you get swept up too much in one and don't get to do the other, but organization is key on that. And I work on that every day.
100%, man. I mean, it's so important to manage, to understand how to manage time and everything. Do you sit down and put in even if you're not feeling inspired, do you sit down and make the time to practice and write? Or is it just one of those things where you're if I'm not feeling inspired, I'm not going to put the time in right now to do it?
It's a mix, because, there's a part of creativity it's a muscle, and you got to work it out, and you got to force yourself to sit down. The hardest part for me is just staying on task, honestly. I want to do it all, and then thinking about it all, I bop around too much, and then I'm not really as productive as I want to be. So for me, it's getting routine and structure down. And, if I'm trying more and more lately to just force myself to create something someday, even if it's just picking up the guitar or ukulele or bass for 20 minutes and just playing something, no matter what it is, no matter what I'm feeling, just play it and see what happens. And those start to add up to bigger moments later on, and keep that muscle flexed. Sometimes if I get too bogged down in the business side, I'll just pick up the guitar and take a break, play that for 20 minutes. No purpose, not like I'm okay, I got to practice this scale or this song. It's just let it flow. And that seems to be very helpful to calm the mind, stay on task, keep that muscle flexed. Like today, today was kind of a light business day in the morning, and I'm going to hang out and chat with y'all for a little bit, but then, I got a new pedal, and I'm going to just play some bass and make some tones. And, today's just my creative day.
Hell yeah.
I got all my business done. So time to write, time to play, time to just relax, in the creative world. And then tomorrow back to business, and, just trying to keep that kind of flow.
Yeah, man. It's important to keep putting the time into that stuff, because it can be very easy. I know for me to get caught up in the other stuff, when the biggest fear that I always have is and Chris and I were kind of talking about it last night, where it's well, you become known for doing this thing, and then you stop getting the calls for the other thing, or even just staying in people's heads about that you're an artist still. And I always get, people now come up to me and be well, I love the podcast. Do you play it all? And I'm wait, the whole reason why I do the podcast is because I play, so you start to get this thing, which I agree with you, where it's not so much about people, how they perceive you is not really any concern, except that unfortunately, I feel there's a bit of concern there, because you still want to stay relevant in people's heads as an artist and as a musician, because you still want the calls. You still, when you put something out, you don't want to be something oh, I didn't even know that you did that. And then people have this expectation it's not going to be very good or whatever it might be. And then furthermore,
that's a good point.
And furthermore, for me, I feel it adds to this already constant idea of the fraud complex, where we're already wrestling with the idea that we're not maybe where some of our idols are at, or if we're even really operating in the same world. And then to have people come back and say things like that, and to know you for one thing and not the thing that you really want to be known for, kind of plays into that even more. So it becomes this very internal struggle, I feel
Devil's advocate, though.
Yeah.
They know you at all, They find you, and then the two things are obviously linked. Maybe at the surface level they just see something briefly, but like the avenue to find it all directs back down to the thing.
That's true.
So like they, as opposed to not knowing you as a guitar player or a podcaster, they find you as a podcaster and then go, oh, he knows what he's talking about with this music thing. Let me see what that's about. Oh, he's got albums. Oh, he plays live. Oh, and then you rope him in one way or another. So like, I could totally see that and see how it feeds that, because it's like, well, this is just something I do on the side. But at the same time, they didn't know you before. The people I'm thinking are probably saying that to you probably didn't know you before or something like that.
Right.
So it's like, you got them. You won in a roundabout way.
Yep.
And hopefully the hook drags them in deeper. But, if they don't, they still know you as someone who's out there doing something, which most people don't even ever get the chance to do, let alone do two things that are dope. So
that's true. I appreciate the...
You got it, bud. Dumb optimism.
Coming in with a silver lining. Yeah.
Dumb optimism.
I mean, that's why I always introduce myself as a musician. Like, I'm a musician. That's what I do. And then I do all this other stuff. And, that's one way for me to just keep that going in my brain too. Of just like, I'm a musician. That's what I am. Because fighting imposter syndrome and crippling self-doubt is part of the game sometimes. So, those little ways to just remind yourself, like, yes, I am this. I am still doing this. I'm still a part of what I want to be doing. And those little reminders to yourself can go a long way.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think you're somebody that's done a pretty good job of kind of exploring different avenues, but, also maintaining your role as a bass player and as a writer, because I mean, I obviously we keep up with each other, so I see that you're like touring with different artists, and then you're at home and you've you release a record, and then like you go back out and you tour with different people, and then you've got like the booking side of it. So I know that you're feeling a certain kind. I know that you have your own internal struggle, but from the outside, it looks like you've got a pretty good grasp on how to manage all of those things.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, because my mind runs a lot faster than my outwardly appearance. That's for sure.
Feel that. Do you are you playing with anyone else right now besides Kevin? Are you still playing with Andrew at all?
Time to time, I still get calls from Andrew and still have availability for that. But I'm kind of trying to take this next couple months a little easy. Got, big things starting up again in end of January. So, I really want to write again. I miss writing. I miss being in the studio. I still got a couple songs in the can that I didn't release from the last string of songs. So I want to get that together. I got a cover tune that I really want to put out. So I'm just kind of feeling this creative fall energy. It's naturally when things die down a little bit. So I took away from this conference too is just the planning of things and waterfalling things out. And I just feel like I need to like get a bunch of things in the can so I can really start putting out things consistently and just as overwhelming as it all seems, I just realized like how simple it can also be if you just plan, organize, set yourself up right, and then you don't got to worry about it all at once. It's all planned and organized, and you can do things in tasks and sections, and that really gave me a good perspective moving forward. So I'm looking forward to these next couple months of just kind of getting back into the writing headspace and being home to do all that.
Yeah, there's that. What's that saying? It's like do a little bit all the time instead of a lot sometimes, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like something that I think it's important to do, because like the next part of it is like we can sit here and timeline things and do X, Y, and Z, but then especially on the creative front, I know I'll speak for myself on this. It's like sometimes when you have the downtime, you're like, man, I just want to take the downtime, but then it throws off your whole plan. Like I'm going to backlog content now. So that when it comes to this time, I can do X, Y, and Z. And then all it takes is for you to have like one day where you're like, you know what? I'm not going to do this today. I'm going to do this tomorrow. And then like literally your entire plan can be disrupted for the next few months because you just didn't do something on one day, right?
Right. Yeah. Self-accountability is big. I learned a lot of that during the process of making the record I put out in February. You know, I did a lot of that record because I needed to hold myself accountable. You know, those days where I didn't feel like doing anything, it's easy to fall into when you're touring and traveling and moving all the time. But I needed something to be accountable for, and that really helped me get in that mindset and keep a little of that discipline. I mean, we all need downtime too. Like, we don't need a productive go attitude all the time. That's going to kill you faster than doing nothing. But in balance and having the balance of that and the self-accountability. Because when you're a freelancer, when you're on your own time, your own schedule, your own desires, it's very easy to fall into that. Like, well, I don't have to do that, so why am I going to do that? I don't really need to. But, you know, even if you have no rigid timeline or no, you know, nobody breathing down your neck, it's still good to have that mentality of like, no, I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to do this for whatever reason, and just keep that accountability in check. And I found that to be very soothing of an anxious mind and very fulfilling. Once you've, you know, completed a set of tasks or a project or something, it just, there's a good rush of confidence and good rush of, you know, just maybe a new skill set or something when kind of go down that path.
Yeah, there's like for me, I like when I talk to people about it, and then I don't know if you've ever been met with this before, but like when you tell somebody like, well, no, I gotta be up to do X, Y, and Z tomorrow, and then they're like, well, you don't need to do that. And it's like, no. It's self accountability, like what you're saying. Like you have to hold yourself to that standard by telling yourself that you need to do it. It's like, because at the end of the day, we can say that you don't really need to do anything. Well, your boss tells you, my boss says I got to clock in tomorrow at 8 a.m. So I have to do that or I don't get paid. It's like, okay, but like at the end of the day, you don't need to you can wake up and decide not to go to work tomorrow. So is there a consequence for that action? Yes. Is a consequence more obvious than maybe the freelancer who's trying to backlog something for whatever to do whatever? It's like, yeah, the consequence is quicker and it's more obvious, but it's not any less crucial, I don't think. So sometimes it's very disheartening when people dismiss the idea of self-imposed deadlines, right? Do you ever come across that?
Not necessarily from other people, but yeah, I agree. I think you just nailed it on the head. Exactly what you just said. I mean, I think the biggest consequence of that is psychological, at least for me. Like, I get far more down and anxious because I feel like I've fucked up or I've wasted my time or was lazy and should have been doing something. Like, that gets me way more down. So that's why that accountability is crucial, because it really helps to ward off those kind of feelings. And to me, that is some of the worst of this kind of lifestyle, is just having those down moments and like feeling like, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I really going back to imposter syndrome or something? And I feel like really the best way for me to keep that away is doing something and being proactive and having accountability and organization and all that. So, yeah, I think having that poo-pooed is just not helpful.
Yeah, for sure, man. Which is why it's important to have people around you that can understand those things, even if it's like, you know, the even if it doesn't necessarily mean monetary gain right away, just to understand that like I need to do X, Y, and Z because, you know, this is the outcome that I want down the line. And it's interesting for artists across any artistic endeavor, whether it's music, acting, the fine arts, whatever it might be, like having like that will to wake up every day and really get after it to create your own outcome is such an important, I mean, it's everything in this grind. And it's interesting that there are so many people that like for all of that, there are so many musicians and artists in general that are so there's just a reputation for being flaky or unreliable. And it just seems, I guess, the nature of being freelance and kind of existing in that world is like the lack of structure, which can lend itself to that kind of, I guess, flakiness or whatever. But it seems that it's something that's very prevalent amongst artists in a world where you need to be like totally self-reliant to be successful.
Yeah, there's definitely that tendency. It is, I guess, kind of a stereotype too of artists sometimes. Definitely heard people characterize artists like that.
Yeah, man. I think it's just like the lack of structure in the lifestyle and everything that it lends itself to it. But it's also like just a creative brain, I think, can be so scattered and hard to lock down on one thing. And then there's also like, do you ever find that, you know, you've put a lot of groundwork down on something, and then you have like these periods of like, you know, maybe a couple weeks where there's a lot of waiting to be had. And then in that waiting, you get anxious and you're like, I'm not doing anything. I need to do something. So you start like another thing that was too big of a project for you to do. And then by the time you want to do that thing, like fully, but by the time you've worked it out and now it's time to start it, then you're like, oh man, well, this other thing needs all my attention now. So then this other thing just totally like falls apart, or now you're trying to do all of it and it all kind of, suffers.
Yeah, well, I think that's the nature of the creative brain, is that creativity is not necessarily nice and neat and organized. So creativity takes you all over the place, and as beautiful as that is, that could also like really be a hindrance if it goes too out of whack. What's that saying? It's like, like most creative people or geniuses are usually pretty sloppy. Their house is like organized chaos. I feel like that's creativity in a nutshell. It's organized chaos.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that for sure.
Yeah.
There's something about the chaos that I think, and maybe this is kind of where it comes from, is that because our brains are so scattered and we do view things in this kind of very abstract way, that we can unintentionally create the chaos in our lifestyle because the piecing together the puzzle in the chaos is how we make sense of the world. So then we create it in our own life in order to make sense of how we're living, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I get the gist of what you're saying there. And it's such a mental roller coaster too. So that really, really doesn't help with chaos and, all the other things that come with that. Like, it's a roller coaster. Everything is it's the highest highs to the lowest lows, sometimes all in the same, 30 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I had a friend of mine one time say something that I thought was interesting, and we were just kind of talking about life and stuff in general. And, I was talking about possibly moving and whatever. And I was like, it's I'm scared because it's like very like the chaos is going to be kind of crazy to get readjusted and blah blah blah. But also just given my life and circumstances, I've kind of I kind of thrive in that chaos. And then he was like, well, just be careful that you don't create that chaos because it's your comfort zone, and I was like, damn, that shit hit me real hard because there is so much there's so much truth to that. And I think it's a very, very unhealthy way to live your life, honestly. I think that there's like there's a role for chaos in the arts because I think that we're trying to take the abstract and make something cohesive out of it. That's the artistic endeavor. But like you don't want to live your life that way because not only is it hard for you to take care of yourself and to grow without any kind of structure, but it also directly affects the people around you in a very negative way.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I kind of like the reason I love touring so much is partially because of the chaos. I kind of thrive in it because it's like you're in a new place every day. It's hard to get bored and hard to get complacent, and you're always got to shuck and jive, and you get to see new things or get to do new things all the time. So like I love that. That's what drives me in touring. I mean, there's also a lot of downsides. Hard to get a routine. Hard to always be healthy. It's hard, there's tons of downsides to that, but I think one of the biggest allures for me is that chaos of just like, ooh, what's coming next? I don't know what's coming next, and I'm excited about that. When I sit home too long, that's when I start to get a little restless because I'm like, I need something new. I need something to shake this up a little bit, and maybe be that a fly in the jar where somebody's just shaking it up, and then you come out and you're like, oh man, what's going on? I kind of love that aspect of touring.
I've always thought that there's like a connection between chaos and like improvising as musicians. Like, a lot of us really love that improvising and just kind of applying it. Like sometimes you stick the landing, sometimes you don't, but like, let's say we're all pretty good at improvising. There's like a certain element of like navigating that chaos deftly and like seeing patterns. And like, I just think there's like a direct relationship to like, musicians being able to navigate that a little bit.
It's the only world I think that makes sense to us if you're a musician that thinks like that. Because then you have like people like that don't improvise that find that chaos to be anxiety ridden, and it cripples them. They want to play, like if you look at a band like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, right? Like if there was any improvising, it was like
it was over structure.
Yeah, it was over a structure, and even that is a stretch. I feel like So I'm wondering about like that kind of mentality versus like a band like Fish or The Dead, where it's like there's these just every night is making something out of that chaos, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing those two bands have very different day-to-day itineraries.
Yeah,
like one is structured and one doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, that's not true though. I just heard a podcast with Mike Gordon. It was Inside the Musician's Mind podcast. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to that, but I listened to the Mike Gordon one on that, and he was talking about how they create set lists for the night, and he was just saying like Trey wakes up at 6 a.m. He writes about 100 songs. Maybe by 8 it's whittled down to like 60, and then by 11 it's like 30, and then right around showtime they've maybe got 10, and then they just kind of figure it out when they get out there. That's kind of like organized chaos in a way. Like it's pretty structured considering how improvised they feel. That's like a routine, and that just feels. I took away from that. That's just like an organized chaos in a way.
It's definitely organized chaos. Picking 100 tunes over the night. Good God.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the magic of improv anyways, right? It's like it's never, I mean, it's not never, but like the best improv, I feel like there is some kind of structure that you know, that's kind of underlying in the whole thing. A lot of the times, you know, what's perceived improv is just people, like if you look at Humphreys, McGee, like there is a lot of improv to their show, but there is a structure also that they're following to kind of prop up the improv elements to it. And I think that's when it's kind of done best. It's again just a principle of organized chaos, you know.
Well, I heard from Phil Lesh that, you know, I think I was pretty young in my music endeavor when I heard this, and it was just all about the moment. And, you know, maybe you're playing the same 12-bar blues structure, or, you know, you're just playing a song. It's an organized A to B to C to D, whatever structure. And, you know, within that, there you have room to just be in the moment. And to me, that's almost improving, because you're feeling the moment. You're not, yes, you might have a structure, but if you're truly in the moment with it, you're not playing that song the same way you played it the night before or a year ago. Like, you're just embracing the moment. Maybe you're holding the note out a little longer, or punctuating it, or, you know, I don't know, flipping a little bit of a pattern around within the same structure. Like that's improv in its own right. The moment, I think that's the biggest thing about improv, is just being in the moment. And it doesn't have to be completely free formed, coming up with that thing right there. Maybe it's just a different breath, or, you know, something like that creates a new moment.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
That really struck a chord with me. I've heard a lot of people talk about non-varying exercises too lately, where, you know, these monster players, again, to go back to that Mike Gordon podcast I listened to, he was playing with the Dead, and they just played the same. They all picked their pattern over the chord, and they played this same thing for minutes on end. And he says that's just such a Zen thing, because you start to breathe into it. You start to, like, it's like chanting a mantra or something, and you just breathe into it, and you give those, each moment you play it, each pass of the phrase just starts to be so musical, even though it's the same thing, because you're finding that moment, you're finding that breath, you're finding that little punctuation different. It's just, I find that it's been so inspiring to think that way when I approach a song writing, or even just getting on stage and playing songs I've played a bunch, or even improv, you know, true improv. That's been like the lifeblood of my, you know, kind of meditation into the music.
Yeah, it's a reminder to be present when you're playing, regardless of what it is, because all too often we can get caught up in just, you know, playing the gig. It's the same songs, or even if there is like jam sections or improv stuff, you know, you're playing with the same people, so there's this kind of like, there's this language that's predictable, and you can just become something that becomes passive to you. So like to hear people at that level, like Phil Lesh or Mike Gordon, talking about being present like that, because those guys have played, you know, with the same guys for, you know, 30, 40, 50 years, you know, so it's like for them,
right,
for them to come out and to acknowledge just like the presence and the refreshing nature of that presence is just, you know, it's a reminder to like people like us that haven't been doing it a fraction as long, to keep that same energy so we don't get burnt out on the thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And also, it's just a reminder that, like, you don't have to play every note. You don't have to play absolutely everything you're feeling, because maybe it's not appropriate. And the appropriate thing is to just play the music, not play the ego, not play the desire, but play the music and kind of be played by the music in the same time.
Right.
That's at least how I started to perceive that a little bit too. Just like maybe this one note or this one bar pattern or whatever, this is what I'm supposed to play. And if you're breathing into it and acknowledging the moment of it, it will all come together. And then maybe it takes you like, okay, I can throw this in here now or whatever. It just kind of keeps that in that sometimes desire to feel like you need to be doing more, keeps that in check.
Yeah, and there's something very spiritual about that, I think, too. Like this idea of relinquishing your ego to the moment, where you can really allow yourself to take in the information around you, so you can appropriately respond, to the moment. I think that's like, that's what meditation's all about. It's about like, just kind of really paying attention to what's happening right here and now, and to have an effective improv session or just even a musical moment in general, whether it's on stage, in the studio, practicing, just relinquishing control to the moment and to the music, really, and allow yourself to take in that information to be able to contribute effectively.
I mean, shit, man, that even goes to like just listening to the birds and the music around you. You don't even have to be playing or with anybody, or like just being in that moment. Like, I love listening to birds. They make great music. And it's just a matter of sitting and listening to it if, you really want to dive deep. I heard that from Jaco Pastorius, is that like just music is all around if you're listening to it.
Yeah.
And that's why most of music is actually not playing, it's listening.
Right. Yeah,
you have to listen
man.
to play.
Yeah, there was one time when I was on tour years back, and we were up in Maine somewhere, I don't remember, but like we had a night off and we were just hanging out. I remember we were staying at a friend of the band leader's house. It was like a lake house, and it was beautiful. The lake was huge. The sunset was like, gorgeous. It was just the way it was reflecting off the clouds. It's bright red, orange kind of thing. And like the trees all around were in the woods. And it's just, the setting was beautiful. I just heard this bird in the distance doing, they were just, whatever their call was. And the interval that they were doing, I was like, that interval just exists in nature. I don't remember what the interval was that I heard, but I remember it sounding relatively familiar. And I was like, that interval just exists. And then we can take that and apply it to something to create something meaningful in music. And I think that there's something intrinsic in music that relates back to nature and just our most primitive selves,
Good use of intrinsic. Good word. Yeah. Word of the day, everybody. Intrinsic.
People, people get that word, like the context of that word, wrong a lot, and it drives me crazy, I will say. But yeah.
But yeah, not to make a joke of your point. Yes, that's a beautiful point.
But yeah, are you familiar with our segment Unpopular Opinions?
Vaguely.
Okay, so basically what we do is we go through and we each say an opinion that we feel like is unpopular, and then we discuss it for a few minutes, and then we move on, and then then that's the segment. So it's fun. We try and keep politics or religion out of it. However, if you'd like to go there, that's totally on the table. But so Chris, you want to go first?
Donald Trump is the best pope we've ever had. Wait a second.
All right.
All right, this one probably won't hit super hard with you, but there are people out there and myself that are tired of it. Online video gaming is no longer any fun because people are just so fucking good at it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of free time, but I have an Xbox, and maybe once a week if I've got a window, I'll go and sit down and play. And I love like the first person like role games like Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, Fallout. Very like at your own pace, just like fun games. And recently I got on Call of Duty and played with my brother, and it was miserable. I did not enjoy it at all because I spent more time dead than I did anything.
Yeah.
People are just so good. I mean, they're all professionals, and I'm just like wandering. It was not fun in the slightest. I'm like, who enjoys this? Like they're literally everyone's a Twitch streamer now. Everyone's like trying to make money off the thing. I'm just like, how is this fun? Like this used to be something we did for enjoyment. This is ridiculous. I was furious.
Are you playing like? Aren't there like different levels that you can play at though?
This is the lowest level. Like there are ranked like things you can do. And then there's just like the unranked, kind of free for all stuff. And that's where I go. I'm like, oh, this will be good. No, like even just those are a free for all death match. And I'm just like, all right, this is insane. I've been playing this game for honor, and KP will walk in. He goes, dude, you suck. You are just terrible. He's like, I haven't seen you block anything once. I haven't said like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, dude. The game came out 10 years ago, and everyone's a professional at it at this point, and I just thought it looked fun. So here's that.
So fuck me, right?
Yeah, exactly. So much for free time. Now I'm angry. Like, oh, good. That was a good use of my free 1 hour I had this week, is just yelling at a screen.
Yeah.
This is cool. So I'm really, really enjoying this avenue of relaxing that I've picked. It's really great.
Do you play games, Keith?
I do not.
Yeah,
I'll play I'll play Risk on my phone, maybe, or some Settlers of Catan on my phone, but that's the extent of it. I used to be back in the day when I was a kid. I'd game till I couldn't sleep for 2 days, but not so much anymore.
Yeah, there's just not time for it anymore, and that's why I love games like Fallout or something, or Assassin's Creed. Like I'll get it, and then I can play it for 8 months. 1 or 2 hours a week, and it'll last me so long. And there's no, you're just playing the game. You're not against other people that are out trying to prove a point. And so I dipped my toe in the pool and will not be going back.
Yeah. I like the games like Assassin's Creed and Grand Theft Auto and stuff. I don't play them anymore just because I know what'll happen.
Yeah.
And I will become obsessed.
They're
and just
addicting.
only do that.
They are.
Yeah. And I just, as we've learned from this conversation today, I'm already having a hard enough time staying motivated to be an artist. And I don't need video games to distract me.
Yeah, I was always more into like Roller Coaster Tycoon and The Sims and all those kind of games.
You're very practical mind.
I just loved roller coasters, so it was always fun to just make one that's like insane and then watch everybody puke or fly off the thing, and
Yeah.
just see how ridiculous you can make things.
Yeah, I used to love playing The Sims also when I was a kid because I just liked the idea of trying to. I don't know. Again, it's just puzzle, just like building a puzzle. It's like we're trying to build a house. So how do we build a house? And then, you would think as somebody who liked to play games like that as a child that I'd be much better with organizing my time and my finances now. But it seems that it didn't really translate.
Well, the best part of that game was building the houses. The gameplay could be like, man, this is boring. I live my everyday life. Why do I want to live another life in a video game? So I would just build like dope houses and then get really bored with the game and be like, all right, I'm done with this.
That's 100% true. That's why I stopped playing. Like when I don't think I've really played a game like for real since I was like 15. And Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out, and I had the Xbox 360 when it was like brand new.
Yep.
And I beat that game. And I used to play Red Dead Revolver before Red Dead Redemption came out. I think I played Red Dead Redemption as well, and then that was like it. After that, then don't get me started on Smash Bros. And Mario Kart.
Dude, the classic.
Classic. Dude, and I'm obnoxious.
I have a 64.
I used to be obnoxiously good at those
right
games.
now.
Yes, N64, 100%. Not this. I mean, I played Brawl on
It's not the same.
on
Wii,
the Wii. Yeah, I played
Not
Brawl
the
on the
same.
Wii. Not the same as what?
not the same as GameCube.
Oh, dude, that was the one that I hated the
man.
most.
Oh,
Game
come
Melee.
on.
I hated Melee.
We must be
Loved
90s
Melee.
kids.
Yes, forget. Yeah. But like again, those were all like games I could play with my friends, like in our spare time. It wasn't like, online stuff. So I don't know.
It's not like you're going up against the grand world champion every time you log on and just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, right.
The game of all
so,
games
yeah,
that was GoldenEye.
Yes, 100%. I loved GoldenEye. Did you ever play GoldenEye, Chris?
What's that?
The James Bond game?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but my first console was a PS2, so I'm a little
Yeah, he's a
little child over here.
a little different generation, I guess.
Heard the stories, heard it was great.
Yeah. Okay, don't be condescending.
Oh, that's where we draw the line.
Yeah, that's Keith, what you got from Popular Opinion? We
Buc-ee's
can always
is
come back to
becoming
you
a
also
cult.
if you want.
I said Buc-ee's is becoming a cult.
Dude, this is so funny that you say that because I just said this also.
Jess said it as her unpopular opinion when she was on.
That's what she said?
Verbatim was Buc-ee's is a cult.
Really?
And that's her
I
exact
did not,
phrasing and everything.
To be honest, I did not see that.
Yeah, no,
That just
I
came
mean,
to me off the top of my head because I was just at a Buc-ee's.
That just tells you how true it really is.
exactly. I don't understand the hype about it. Here's what I think. I think that it gets so much hype because of the hype, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's feeding on itself in a loop at this point.
Yeah, it's basically a Walmart with a gas station.
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
And nice, clean shitters.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
give 'em that.
true.
Yeah, that is
And they do have good food there too,
yeah.
compared to most
When you're
gas
on the
stations.
road and it's like, seedy gas station with the like fucking rim attached to a key to go to a bathroom versus a Buc-ee's. I'm picking the rim attached to the key all day,
Yeah,
Buc-ee's all day.
Buc-ee's all day,
So
dude.
it's the Ruth's Chris of gas stations,
It amazes me though the people that buy the like all the merchandise, and I mean they must be making a killing on that. It's like it's crazy to me. I don't know.
You don't get your kitchen slogan signs from Buc-ee's. They got a whole section of just like live, laugh, love, and
God damn it, Keith! You just
wine
took
a
it
little,
right out
laugh
of
a
my
lot.
mouth.
or buck up and have a good day or something.
You should apply for their marketing team, Chris.
Already ahead of you. Working on sponsors.
Well, shit. If that's actually my backup plan because every time I pump gas at a Buc-ee's, they're like, assistant manager, 200 or 150,000 a year. I'm like, shit. What the hell am I doing? I can make $150,000 working at a Buc-ee's. I'm over here busting my ass driving this fucking van.
You don't want the smoke of trying to organize that much jerky alphabetically and by taste. It's almost impossible.
Chris knows from experience, apparently.
My former life, I was in a Buc-ee's. No, I spend a lot of time in the jerky aisle. What you gonna do?
Was that what your character in The Sims did?
What's the Sims?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a jerky curator.
Yeah, bro. I agree with you though. I think Buc-ee's is absolutely becoming a cult, and I don't. It's the same thing that happened with Wawa years ago.
And Publix.
Well, Publix
To an extent, because
Publix is different though, because Publix is a supermarket that I think is objectively better than all the supermarkets in America.
I would argue that Buc-ee's is objectively better than most gas stations.
Okay,
Wegmans.
that's like being the
Shout out
skinniest
to the
kid at fat
Northeast.
camp.
Same with Publix. What the fuck are you trying to prove?
Nah, dude. Here's the thing: is that like grocery stores are where you go. It's the local watering hole. It's where you go to
The
survive.
fuck it is? Who's ever said that grocery stores are the local watering hole?
Bro, it's where you go to get your food to live and survive. It's our hunting ground, okay?
Yeah.
So it's important that we get good food at a quality food at an affordable price. I think Publix does that better than anywhere else. Buc-ee's.
Nope. I disagree.
Oh, what do you think, Keith?
Wegmans.
What is it?
Wegmans all day. A Wegmans.
Wegmans?
It's a Northeast thing.
Yeah, we don't have those down here.
Yeah. No. I think the farthest south it is Virginia, but it is literally the best grocery store you'll ever go to.
I think we got some grocery
It's got
wars
Publix beat
coming
by
on.
a long shot.
Everyone says the same thing about HEB out west and everything too. So we might have to start a little tussle.
We're gonna make merch out of it. Publix is greater than Wegmans. You hear that, Wegmans? We're coming
Let's
for
just do
you.
a grocery store tour.
Let's go back to your thing real quick because I don't like that at all. It's a quality of life thing, not just a watering hole survival thing. We as a society just want a certain quality of life across the board. And Buc-ee's with their clean, wet restrooms on the desolate highway system of America is a golden beacon just as hard as Publix is. We just want that quality across the board. It doesn't matter whether it's food, whether it's relief on a long day on the road. We just want that quality.
So you're telling me that you're part of the Buc-ee's cult?
Fuck off.
Okay.
And come find me at Buc-ee's in the Mascots.
You've eaten too many beaver nuggets, man.
Yeah, mine's I couldn't get the one here in St. Augustine. I got to go to Daytona every day for my shift.
That's a real commitment. You're going to drive an hour and a half south.
I do. Because Buc-ee's is that good.
All right. That was a good unpopular
I mean,
opinion, Keith.
it's a cult when they got to steal your Buc-ee's Grateful Dead
Let's
shirt.
see. Sorry, what were you saying? All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, we had some issues with the Zoom call, and we lost Keith on that last unpopular opinion. But I thought it was a great conversation. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will certainly be getting Keith back on because him and I can talk for hours on this stuff. Him and I go, a long way back working with the River Rats and Side Hustle and, Southeast tours and all that. So we can go on for days about this stuff. So anyways, again, we hope you enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.